Have you ever said to yourself, I'm going to start taking my business really seriously. I'm going to get myself to the next level. Then you implement some kind of new strategy or start posting more often, and you find that nothing really changes, even though you really meant it, even though you really believed it, even though you really put in the work. Today, we're going to be talking about what it actually takes to go from side hustle income to actually supporting your life income. My name is Victoria Strong. I am a brand artist and strategist, and I'm going to break down the shift that I have seen in myself and in clients that switches people from occasional or inconsistent sales to actually running a full-on business that can support them and their family. Because this step is huge and it feels insurmountable to a lot of people, and it took me years to figure it out. And I'm just gonna give it to you. By the way, today is the first day I have ever taken Adderall, and this is the second time I'm recording this video because I recorded or thought I recorded the whole thing, realized my microphone wasn't plugged in, went, oh shit, went to check to see if I could hear it with the laptop microphone anyway, and realized I actually never even hit record. So I don't know, I think maybe this isn't my medicine. So I find that usually when people are feeling very inspired or very excited about what they're doing, or even maybe kind of spiteful or fed up with their day job, and they're like, no, I have to make my dream work. Usually what happens is they'll have an idea of what's going to flip them from where they are now to where they want to be. They'll say oh, if I get on TikTok and am really consistent there, my business will blow up and will be able to sustain me. Or if I finally redesign my website and update my portfolio, I'll be booked out. All good things, right? And then they will commit to doing them. They'll go in with all the hope and passion and all the effort, and they'll work on that thing. And most of the time it just doesn't return the results that they wanted. They feel like they're stuck in the same place, or maybe just only 2 inches ahead, even though they gave miles worth of effort. And then they'll think, oh dang, I guess that wasn't the one thing, it must be something else, and they'll go back to searching for the thing that's gonna flip them. And I did this for years, okay? And my business did very incrementally, slowly get better, but I knew I had the skills of someone who could be making much, much more, and you probably do too. There are probably lots of people not as skilled, not as talented, not as passionate, not as dedicated as you, who are making much, much, much more money than you. And this is how you're gonna break the cycle, okay? I want you to think of yourself as having 2 jobs, or at least 2 jobs, I guess. You have your trade, whether you're a photographer, a hairstylist, a web designer, whatever it is you do, that's your job. And then your job is also to be an entrepreneur. This has its own tasks and skill sets that are kind of totally separate from this. We're going to be talking about 3 things that make a successful entrepreneur. And the important thing is that you don't just listen to this and think, yeah, that's good advice. The important thing is that you listen to this and you make those 3 things your job. You take them as seriously as you take this, okay? Because this is your medium, but this is your engine. This is what's gonna turn this into money. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do as an entrepreneur is to become the scientist of your brand. And what I mean by this is, starting now, you have to treat absolutely everything in your business, every sale, every launch, every marketing platform, every strategy is now an experiment. And you're going to take your business journal that we talked about in episode 1, by the way. This is a series. This is episode 4, the final episode in the Build Your Dream Business series. And if you've watched every part, then you should have a business journal by now. And you are going to become a mad scientist. Absolutely everything you try, I want a full write-up report in your journal. I want you to dissect and analyze and just get so interested in the actual growth of your business. Get so curious. Get so experimental. When you finish an experiment, open your book and talk about what went right, what went wrong, how it felt in your body, how much energy you had, what it cost, what it made, how people reacted, the feedback that you got, the time that it took. Write it all out. What theories do you have? What do you think will work next? What do you think will work better? Become this sort of alchemist for your growth journey. If you had been doing this since the start of your business, you would have an encyclopedia of wisdom and knowledge that you've gleaned from trial and error, from practice, from like the most valuable type of learning, but you've probably forgot a lot of it or didn't even clock it to begin with. So start now, because if you do this for a couple years, it will like literally make you a business genius. Successful entrepreneurs aren't successful because they had one good idea and they tried it and it worked out. They're successful because they don't quit until they are. And the path there is fun and interesting and engaging for them. It's like a mental challenge. And they're much more resilient because they're not thinking, let's say you're going to launch a new product, okay? They're not thinking, okay, this is either going to succeed or it's going to flop. They're thinking more in terms of this is either going to succeed or I'm going to learn a lot. Okay, so the dichotomy isn't fail or succeed. The dichotomy is succeed or succeed, really, because either way, you're winning. The information, the data is the prize because it goes in that little journal and it makes every subsequent thing you do better. And making that shift is going to be so good for your confidence, because if you are running a business, sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. I would say for a lot of us, more often we're failing than succeeding. And if you keep having all these failures on your path, it's going to start to erode your self-esteem. You're going to start to feel like a failure if you don't have a good perspective on this. If you see things not working out as proof that they can't work out or that they won't work out, it gets harder and harder to keep getting back up, right? But if instead when your launch fails, you're thinking, oh, thank God, I was wondering how people would respond to that price point and now I know. And I will say, if you feel like you're not failing that often, you're probably not doing enough. Unless you're like 1,000% satisfied with your business, your processes, and your income. If you want more and also you're not being challenged to the point of failure occasionally, then you need to be putting yourself out there a lot more. You need to be running a lot more experiences and collecting a lot more data. Your business is a beautiful mystery. If your dreams are inevitable, if your success is inevitable, and you're just here to like watch it unfold, aren't you interested? Aren't you curious about how it's going to unfold? Aren't you interested to try a bunch of things and see what happens? Okay, so you're going to become the scientist of your brand. The other thing you're going to do is you are going to treat your mindset as a valuable asset. I know when we're thinking like mindset, it gets all tangled up in like manifestation and affirmations, and it can feel very like 2018 internet girl boss coded, but they were right about some things. They were definitely wrong about a lot, but the girl bosses were right about prioritizing your mindset. What you believe about yourself, about your customers, about your business, and about your work, what you believe in your mind about those things is going to have a tangible impact in your real life. I tapped out a few years ago. I was like, you know what? This is all a bunch of capitalist, white privilege bullshit. I've been thinking like a millionaire for years. I've been showing up. I've been having faith. And I am not rich. I think I've been had. I think I've been tricked. This is not for me. I tapped out, and let me tell you, I will never tap out of it again. Believing in the possibility of your success is a prerequisite for achieving that success. It's not the whole picture. It's not everything you need. Some business coaches love to say that, but it is prerequisite. And we're not all starting on level ground, right? There are different levels of privilege and different backgrounds and different belief systems that we've been given that can affect our ability to believe in ourselves and believe in our success. So for some people, this will come very easy, and for some people, it is the fight of a lifetime. If you were raised not to believe in yourself, if you were raised not to trust entrepreneurship or self-employment as a safe and viable option, if you were raised never having enough money, then this piece is all the more crucial. Do what you have to do in order to maintain hope, faith, positive outlook, optimism, belief in yourself, and do it on a regular basis as if it was your job, because now it is part of your job. It can be a cheesy ass manifestation, guided affirmation, meditation, whatever the hell. It can be watching movies or listening to music by artists who inspire you. It can be looking for examples of people who are like you, who are doing what you want to do. It can look any kind of way. You have to figure out what works for you, and you have to fold it in to your weekly, daily routines. Now, I don't want to suggest that you can't have a successful business if you are struggling with your mental health or you don't have the resources to properly support your mental health yet. I'm just saying you can't neglect this piece. As much of your mind is available to believe in the dream and to help push you towards it should be employed in that direction. By the way, did you notice that there's furniture in here now? It's made such a difference in my energy. Everything was just kind of like in a pile on the ground before. And the day I got the bookshelf in here, Facebook Marketplace find. By the way, this whole house furnished by Facebook Marketplace. But the day that I got it in here, I immediately sat down and did like several hours of the best work that I've turned out in weeks. I did not realize how much the clutter was affecting me. Just one of those lessons I have to learn over and over and over again. Okay, so you are a brand scientist. You are your own manifestation guru. And you are also your auditor. This is the most important one. Well, they're all really important, but this is the one that's going to make it stick. It is imperative that you conduct monthly check-ins. So remember in episode 1, I had you put these on your calendar. Every month you are going to conduct a check-in. And as long as you are growing your business, you cannot skip these check-ins. You can be a few days late, but you can't skip them. Even if you take a month off of work, you come back and you start with the check-in. Okay, so the scientist part and the manifestation part, those are all things you've probably heard before. It's not super new, but this is the step where we're going to take it from like knowledge to like taking it seriously and making it part of your job and embodying those identities. By consistently showing up and making little micro adjustments towards what is working. Okay, so you're gonna sit down for your check-in and do some kind of like meditation or reflection on how the previous month went. I actually have recorded a meditation that I use for these, so if you want to use mine, go right ahead. The point is I want you actually really realistically thinking about where your time and energy focus went this past month and like what were the results and how happy are you with the results and what's working and what's not. Say, for example, you got excited, you decided to take your business more seriously, you're going to post every day on TikTok, and you go forth and you do it, and you have momentum. Then on your monthly check-in, you're going to go in and say, okay, is that getting me more customers? Is that getting me more followers? Is it getting me more engagement? Is it sustainable for my energy? And you're just going to like reflect on what's going on. Like results are inconclusive after just 1 month. You don't know yet if it's working or not. So you do it for 3 months. At the 3-month mark, you're like, actually, this isn't returning the results I want. And I'm really tired and I don't really like what I'm putting out because I'm just like hustling to get it done every day. That's when the scientist comes in and is like, okay, so that's not quite working. What if we did higher quality posts less often? Or what if we repurpose this on a different platform that might do a little bit better for us? And you kind of start making micro experiments out of what you're doing, what you think would work, and what you're finding does or doesn't work. And you're writing all this stuff down in your journal. And through experimenting, analyzing, and recording, you realize that actually Instagram is your platform, and there's this one type of post that your clients actually respond really well to that has led to a couple bookings, and you decide to pour more into that. That's the difference. That's the difference between the person who is like, I know that if I post on TikTok a bunch, my business is going to grow, and just like goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And then it was like 6 months later, like, what the heck? I'm not much further than when I started. Whereas the entrepreneur who is strategizing and analyzing and having fun in the weeds with it, and is taking their job as business grower really seriously, that's what sets them apart. That's what's making that person get the results. It's not just grit, it's not just working super hard, it's not just having the best ideas. It's staying in it and staying up close to it. During this check-in, you're also going to look forward to the month ahead. What are you going to do differently? What are your intentions? How do you want to feel? Every month we're going to check in with our progress against our annual goals. Are we on track? Are we ahead? Are we behind? How do we feel about that? Okay, and all that's going into the journal. I spent so much time wishing my business was bigger and wishing my business could support me. And looking back, I realized that all I was doing was trying harder at the things that I had already proven were not working, which was driving me absolutely, literally crazy. Okay, and then the last bit of this monthly check-in is deciding what you are improving on. This can be something very related to your trade, like if you're a hairstylist, maybe you want to learn razor cuts, or you want to learn how to make really cool transition TikToks to post, or you want to learn about how to write emails to make them more high converting, how to make your YouTube videos look better, or how to be a better leader for your employees. It can be anything within your business, but at least on a monthly basis, you need to be setting aside time to improve. I'm in a big period of growth this year, and I've been listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos on how to improve probably 2 or 3 times a week, and like taking it very seriously, writing the things down in my journal and implementing them like it's part of my job, because it is. Okay, and entrepreneurs do not grow alone. You're surrounded by people who have the knowledge and the skill sets that you need to get yourself to the next level. And a lot of people offer it for free. You can watch free YouTube videos like this one. You can listen to podcasts. You can attend lower investment, like a $30 workshop or $100 masterclass. You can sign up for bigger courses or just like full on hire somebody to improve that area of your business for you. And that's how you're going to grow your dream business. So to recap the series, you're going to set goals in a way that actually makes sense. You're going to build a brand that will attract the clients to help you meet those goals. You're going to develop a custom marketing strategy that makes sense for you and your energy and isn't going to burn you out. And 4, you're going to embody the traits of a successful entrepreneur, and by so doing, become one. See, that's not so hard. And then you're going to make lots of money. You're going to hire incredible people. You're going to pour that money back into your family and back into your community, back into the hands of good people. You're going to take care of your neighbors, and you're going to change the world just like that. If this series has helped you at all in any way, I would love to hear in the comments. It's been a real roller coaster for me. I started this series when I got back from Christmas and the channel was flopping. And then we had one episode do really well, and then the other ones haven't. And this YouTube channel is just an experiment for me. I'm trying to figure out what kind of content resonates, what's fun to make. This was like a very practical, educational, informational series. And I'm still inconclusive if that's what the people want. But if you're here and you watch through the whole thing, then you're definitely somebody I want to hear from. Also, when we get to 500 subscribers, we're at about 65 or 70 at the time of making this video. When we get to 500 subscribers, I will be giving away a $400 brand audit for free. This is basically when we get on a face-to-face call, talk about your business, where you're at and where you want to be. And then I send you a whole write-up that's basically a step-by-step plan of how you're gonna get from here to there. It'll be 100% tailored to you, and it's one of my favorite offerings because I love getting people there. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I'm not done. We'll be back in a week with a new video. Okay, go forth and do your thing.